Hello, welcome inside the Hera Press Box. I saw on the email that I was sent for the invite. This is the Christian Press episode number 23.
It is.
And when the name of this first came up, well, you said that we were going to get in trouble for stealing Press's name, or this was going to be her show. Was that what was that?
I think it was her show, not maybe getting in trouble for her name, but making it her show.
Maybe I guess we've only mentioned her probably just in the U.S. rosters, right?
Right.
So yeah,
I was wrong.
I was trying to prove a point. Yeah, this isn't her show. Though my text did say, well, my tweet, I guess, did say, thank goodness for Christian Press.
Yes. I corrected you on that one, though, so.
So you think.
I was correct, though.
What did you even say?
I corrected it to thank goodness for Julie Ertz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. We could have used her, too.
She's all right.
Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back into our sort of regular schedule for podcast, we had a couple of podcasts ago. It was just me. Then last time out, I just let Alyssa kind of recap what all she had to say from that single podcast that I did. Now we'll get back into sort of back and forth on different topics. I have a few in mind. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to tackle right away.
Just a couple of things just about the WNBA. There's two great games tonight. One is still, I guess, finishing up. I'm watching it on my phone, so it could be over and done with right now. Phoenix and Seattle are playing right now. Sue Bird was going for the assist record. I think she's sitting at 3 assists for the game. She needed 6 tonight in order to get the all-time record. The Lynx and Sparks play tonight, which if you didn't see that game, you missed a really good game. Probably the best game that I've ever seen Candace Parker play. Pretty much Sparks won. Pretty much still giving them an opportunity to kind of take over that number 1 seed, which the way that the playoffs work in the WNBA is really going to help them out if they have the number 1 seed overall. That's pretty much all that I had to kind of start.
Okay, great, yeah. And I had just went through, now that we are 2 leagues moving into the playoffs, 1 league just finished up the playoffs, so I had to kind of compile real quick details of those playoffs. I'm going to run through those as you mentioned those. One for the National Pro Fast Pitch League, the Scrapyard Dogs took 2 of 3 from the regular season champs to win the league title. This is after San Antonio had ran away with the table and fast pitch. Monica Abbott went the distance to clinch the championship, only ceding 4 hits, 1 earned run, and striking out 11. The Orlando Pride have won 4 straight and are now in the final playoff spot, tied with the Red Stars, who ended a 3-game losing streak. Boston and Washington have been eliminated from playoff contention. FC, KC, and Houston are 9 points out of 4th. They are in 7th and 8th. And then to the WNBA, 6 teams have clinched a spot in the tournament. Minnesota, LA, Connecticut, New York, Washington, and Phoenix are through. Dallas is a game away from clinching their spot, and the Storm, Sky, and Dream will battle for the final spot.
Any predictions there for the NWSL?
For the NWSL? No, I have no idea.
I was going to ask your predictions for the WNBA, but the way kind of things have been going so far, you just assume it's going to be a repeat of last year. I can't imagine it not being, unless there's, Lindsay Whalen has been out for a little bit yet with the Lynx, but they're looking to get her back by playoff time. I guess the only really key injury that they have that may affect them, but they hung with the Sparks tonight, so I really don't see that being necessarily a huge impact for them, especially if they're getting the number 1 or the number 2 seed
right
off the bat, because then they still have time to wait for her to get back, especially, again, how the way the playoffs are set up in the WNBA. She'll have hopefully more than enough recovery time.
Diana Taurasi just hit a 3. They're
Yeah.
not 4 with 15
Yeah.
seconds left.
I saw that.
Yeah. What was I going to say about that? About the WNBA?
Yeah.
I guess I just wanted to let you know and put this out there that the league pass is down to $9, I think, for the rest of the season
Okay.
if you buy it in the
Mhm.
next week, I think. So I think it's a good time to finally get on that and watch the last few games and then into the playoffs. So
Right.
yeah, it's a lot cheaper now. Good value.
Hmm. Yeah, these 2 games tonight were amazing games, to be quite honest with you. I think that Sparks Lynx game was just crazy. Good basketball all around. I'm distracted by the game now.
That game was on. The other game was on ESPN. Was it?
Yeah, ESPN or ESPN2.
Super had her shot. So speaking of all those professional leagues, I think the first topic that I had sent to you in my text message was a different sport that has a professional league, but doesn't really have a professional league.
Right.
One that's not really recognized, and just kind of looking over their Wikipedia page, you see that volleyball has had zero success in sustaining a league of an indoor federation. Now they have a league that's called the Premier Volleyball League, and that started in 2012. A lot of turnover, a lot of different teams year in, year out. The team that won it last year, the Florida Wave, are now out of the league. So just looking at, and then Phoenix won by 4. I'm sure you saw that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I've wondered this. What's it going to take for that to happen? Is it a different mindset that volleyball players have? I don't know why, but it just seems like a different sport. Maybe it's because I'm not used to seeing professional league with volleyball, but I kind of started thinking about this again when I watched the replay of Wisconsin playing North Carolina, and there's not a better atmosphere on Wisconsin's campus than the field house is when volleyball is playing, and I can guess that is like that at dozens of other schools around the nation when you have a small facility and and volleyball plays there, and it's action packed. There's always action going on.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot of attention span for the fans.
Right. Because it's quick.
Yeah, it's quick. It seems to be a
entertaining sport.
Yeah, especially for this society that
Right.
has no attention span whatsoever.
Right.
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say that, what any initial thoughts on kind of that as a topic?
Yeah, and it's, as far as initial thoughts go, I automatically think to the Olympics and how exciting that is, and pretty much that's the only kind of indoor volleyball that I get a chance to see, in the sense of that's the only thing that's televised, which I'm sure that's the majority of people that they watch the Olympics. They're tuning into that. It's not like people aren't watching it. So I don't know how to translate that into sustainable and, not so much turnover. Maybe it's just part of growing pains for them, the way that it is with soccer. And it's just a matter of giving it some time, being able to consistently sustain a certain amount of teams in a certain amount of places, or an exact place type of deal, and just kind of run with it and see what happens. Given that's easier said than done, I understand that. As far as why it hasn't been booming, I don't know. I kind of feel, we get beach volleyball on TV every once in a while. I think NBC Sports, NBC, depending on where they're at, usually like a Huntington Beach is televised. So we're having some tournaments televised with beach volleyball. So where does that come into play with indoor? Why isn't it kind of the same deal with that, I guess? I mean, a lot more individuals, or I guess a lot more teams with beach volleyball than I guess indoor, but it's a way to grow the sport.
Yeah, and I think about the beach volleyball players. What's that age range? I mean, they're not young, right? I mean,
No, I
they're
think,
playing well into their 30s,
oh
right?
yeah, I think I would say anywhere from mid to late 20s into their 30s, I think is kind of the average, because usually what happens is you play in college, so you're playing indoor in college. The majority, I guess, play indoor at college. Then you probably go play professional indoor somewhere, and then you kind of make the transition to beach. And that has, I guess, started to change because more and more colleges are getting beach volleyball teams. So individuals are able to get more training with beach volleyball. So we could even see an increase in popularity just because we're going to be able to see an increase of talent sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I like to pay attention now to if there's more interest or more of the better athletes that would go to play beach volleyball as opposed to indoor volleyball. I asked a question about the age because I want to think that it might have something to do with the health of a player on an indoor hardwood court. Constantly leaping, whereas opposed to beach volleyball, it's a couple times slower, not as much jumping, and you have a little softer landing on the sand.
And I don't have I guess I don't have an accurate perspective from this in the sense of, and I'm kind of changing topics here a little bit, in the sense of what gets more attention in college, beach or indoor at the same school. My assumption is indoor, just simply based off of what I know. But then
at least for now.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
2 or 3 years old as far as a recognized sport.
Right. And it's just the opposite in professional leagues. And I know that Haley Nelson, she played for the Badgers, and now she's at LSU, and I do believe I know she's there for grad school, and I do believe she's playing beach volleyball now, from what I've understood. So again, we're seeing that transition a little bit sooner probably rather than later, because she's able to go to a university that has beach volleyball and hone her skills there, and then essentially open it up to whether she wants to play indoor or beach.
So there are 9 teams in that Premier Volleyball League for the women's side. A handful of these teams sponsor men and women's. And just to read through those teams: Arizona Sizzle, Rising Tide in the Chesapeake region, Great Lakes team. Then there is the Team Iowa Ice, Team IE, the Iroquois Empire, i.e. it's Eastern New York, the Lakeshore Surge, the New England Midnight Riders, Team North Texas, and Sound Premier Volleyball Team. The Puget Sound. Those are the teams. Yeah, and another thing that makes me wonder is kind of what does a player like Lauren Carlini do outside of big USA tournaments? I know she's
signed with a team.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Over in Europe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think is it in Italy? It's somewhere over in Europe. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's a strictly indoor player.
Correct. At least for now. Yeah, it's in Italy.
Yes, that's something I guess I would like to look more into. Maybe what other countries have as far as professional leagues,
right.
What the interest numbers are for beach versus indoor, college, see if those are improving. maybe what we can expect as far as a push for a professional league indoor, if it's ever going to be possible, to a greater extent than what it is now.
Right. I feel like it's a little bit, in a way, kind of like soccer, the way soccer started to grow overseas more and now has kind of made the transition over here, given that soccer was always really a non-US sport, I would say, and now it's starting to have more and more backing here in the States. So is it just a matter of, I mean, I don't know what volleyball is like over in Europe or anything like that. I'm assuming it's way better because you don't see a lot of players staying here. You see them moving overseas to play. So is it just essentially a matter of time? Like we just need to be patient with it? Or do we need to be a little bit more active with getting it here? Or marketing it more?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that span turns out.
Mm-hmm.
The next few years, maybe once the Olympics come back around, we'll see if interest
I mean,
kind of spurring something.
Right. Interest is always going to spike right after. I'm hoping it's going to be able to spike just a little bit before it to gain interest and before the Olympics start, and then being able to sustain it after. I think that's something that has really helped the women's game in soccer a lot more, and with World Cups and just talent bursting at the seams pretty much.
Okay, a couple of sort of around the world soccer topics.
Mm-hmm.
One, the FIFA Player of the World will be narrowed down to 3 athletes in the middle of September.
Mm-hmm.
And to put you on the spot.
Oh gosh, I knew you were going to do that.
So they will narrow the list down to 3 nominees.
Yeah, I have the list in front. Yeah, I have a list in front of me.
And you're going to select. You would think Kerr gets there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think Kerr is winning it.
And you think Lloyd is there?
I don't know. Do you think she's there?
I'm not sure. So
okay.
1 would be Kerr, and then 2, especially after she just won the UEFA's Women's Player of the Year.
Right. It's kind of hard not to have her there.
Yeah, Martins goes as the second for sure, and she beat out the Danish Harder.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think
it is one of those 2 that went for me.
Yeah, this list is, my goodness, ridiculous. To be quite honest, how are you supposed to choose which 3 go? I think the first name that really stands out to me, besides Kerr and Martins, I guess, because you're pretty much automatically putting those 2 through, would be Jodie Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
But Wendy Renard, I think, is one of the more underrated players, at least in my eyes. This is difficult for me. I don't think Lloyd goes, though. If I had to give you an answer, I don't think she goes. I don't think she's had seasons like she's had before, especially with Kerr. She's most likely going to be getting the record for most goals in a season in the NWSL. So I really don't see Lloyd making it. I think you're right. I think it's going to be Kerr, Martins, and Harder.
Yeah, those are the 3 I would go with or vote for. You can vote on FIFA.com.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to have some sort of account, is what it looks like, to be able to vote. So you can vote for that on FIFA.com. You can also vote for Coach of the Year. looks like you're going to have to write in Jill Ellis. I did not see her appearing on that list.
You are not writing her.
One of these coaches on here is the topic of my other mention in the text message. I don't know if you knew. Do you know who I was talking about?
I might have an idea.
Nielsen from Denmark.
Yeah. Is he nominated for Coach of the Year? Oh, I know.
Yep. After Denmark's runner-up performance, and
interesting.
And he has now resigned as of today. This weekend, he is out as the Danish head coach. We've talked about coaches of interest. If that were to happen, I have mentioned that I would like to see a male coach who has has some fire in him. I'm not saying that I would write his name in and kick Jill out the door, but I'm saying if that were to happen, he would easily be
number one.
My top three. I don't know about
top
number
three.
one.
Who would you pick number one? Do you have one in mind?
No, and that's mainly because I haven't found a collegiate male that I would like to see. I would. Nikki Izzo Brown from West Virginia is still up there for me.
Why do you think it has to be a male?
I don't think it has to be. I think that there's just some sort of shift there that I think
needs to happen.
Yeah, some type of reaction from the players and from other coaches.
Who is on? There's been an assistant. Yeah.
Yeah, as you look up his name, because I know who you're talking about. But I've also become a fan of the Santa Clara head coach, and I just had to look up his name because I forgot it. But Jerry Smith, he's been 30 years at Santa Clara, and I would put him on a short list of people I'd like to see that take the next step. But him being at that program for so long, you see that longevity. You wonder if he'd even want to take that job. But I would like to see him get asked about that. If that opportunity was available to him, would he at least consider it? Find a name?
Tony Gustafsson, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
And he's the assistant for the national team?
He is.
And you like him because?
Oh, I wasn't saying I was necessarily picking him to be.
Oh, you don't like him?
Oh, no, I like him. I'm just saying he's been around for some time. You would think he would be on the list.
Right.
It's just one of those names to throw out there.
Starting tomorrow, the U.S. Open begins. And I figured we have some time here. If you had any players you're interested in watching this tournament, maybe some predictions or what you're most looking forward to.
Well, what I'm most looking forward to, and it's already started, Bethany Maddox Sands is working with the Tennis Channel, I do believe is, and just kind of going around interviewing players. She's going to be on, obviously, the Tennis Channel, so TV, doing some commentating, I do believe. She's already having some fun with it, so I'm excited to see her out there. She was back on the court today just doing some volleying, just simply standing there and hitting the ball back. But it's cool to see her back in the tennis world. As far as predictions go, I'm still waiting for Wozniacki to break out and take something. I do believe she's made the most finals in the WTA so far this year, if I'm not mistaken. But she doesn't have the most titles, which is a little bit concerning for me. But I think I'm hoping she's going to do well. I'm looking for her again to just break out. As far as past her, I think the women's side is kind of up in the air for anyone to take at this point. There's really in my mind, there's no one person like a Serena Williams that you just know is going to make it to the quarters, semis. Pretty much a lock for the finals. Another thing, I guess, that I'm most interested in is I'm interested to see how Sharapova plays against Halep and see how Halep plays against Sharapova. My assumption is that Halep is just going to run the table, just with the assumption of Sharapova hasn't played significant amount of time in 2 years, maybe, or a year and a half. But she is also a Grand Slam champion, so I wouldn't put it past her to be able to knock out Halep. Any prediction from you?
Well, just a couple of things before that. I just wanted to make a note that it is on ESPN as well, so ESPN3 will be covering probably all of the matches. I know they covered all of the last major, so they should all be on there as well. Last time I didn't realize that until the 4th or 5th day, so one mistake there, Caroline. Predictions, I don't see Caroline winning.
I don't see her winning either, but I want her to win
a couple of matches.
Yeah.
I look forward to a strong showing from Sloane Stephens. I don't know how strong I want to say she will be, but I want to call a quarterfinals appearance, semifinals appearance even, out of the question for her. I think we'll see her up to speed.
Yeah. I think you can put Coco in that same conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I made a list, obviously, because that's all I do, of players that I'll be paying attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 9 names for you, so that way, if they do any good, you'll know that I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Nicole Gibbs, Coco Vandeweghe, CC Bellis, Sloane Stephens are my Americans that I'll be paying attention to. Eugenie Bouchard, who might get past the first match.
You're still giving her a chance?
I mean, I'm still interested in what she does, not anywhere near the word hopeful. Caroline Wozniacki, Maria Sakkari, Dominika Cibulkova, and Karina Witthoff, the German that she plays. Who does she play? Sevastova, maybe? Her matchup is tomorrow at 1:15, and she plays the 16th ranked Sevastova. So just to let you know, I will be happy when she pulls that upset. Yeah, so five of those play tomorrow. So I'll have my iPad going at work. Don't worry.
I won't put it past you.
Is there anything you have further about the U.S. Open? Anything else?
No, the WNBA and the U.S. Open were the 2 other things that I wanted to talk about outside of your list. So we covered everything that I wanted to talk about. Oh, I guess your take on, I guess we can kind of make it a mini weekly daily report on Rachel Daly, just setting up shop, just hanging out in Houston, and as well as I think Lydia Williams is there, and I think Morgan Bryan.
Cami Levitt.
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah. Rachel and Cami were working out today. I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they do probably live in a penthouse in that complex. So as long as the wind doesn't blow the whole building down, I guess they're safe.
They're safe enough.
I don't know, Rachel. Do they not have those things in England?
Apparently not. Well, she had tweeted out something along the lines of, how serious do I need to take this?
Yeah.
And someone tweeted a picture at her of highways underwater, and that's exactly what's happening. So, and she said it was right outside of her apartment. Oh, so you just decided to stay. Great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess if I needed one more reason for all those storms to be over, then there it is. So hopefully the water goes away before she tries to swim in it or something.
As far as I know, it's not looking to quit anytime soon.
No, it's not. I don't even know. Has it started moving east yet? I haven't paid attention to the.
I haven't paid attention to the pathway yet. I know that it was supposed to go past Houston and then kind of
come back,
boomerang back. Yeah. So I don't know where it's at in its path right now, but hoping everyone stays safe, stays logical in doing things, doesn't decide to travel out and do anything. I know that JJ Watt set up a page to go and donate for relief for those people there. Because it's pretty devastating, to be quite honest, from the pictures and the videos that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did, and I just looked up just one other thing that I hadn't looked up yet, and that was to deal with the WNBA back to the NBA Live that comes out September 15th. So in three weeks, we'll be able to play as favorite NBA team and player, and I'm sure those will be interesting episodes after that. And who knows, maybe even this Thursday, if we do a podcast, I think we can. Maybe even this Thursday will be an interesting podcast. So, but as for this one, we left it a little short, 34 minutes, 33 minutes, no big deal. But if you don't have anything else to add, do you?
Nope.
Anything else? Okay, well then we'll call it a night a little early, and we thank you for stopping by the Hara Press Box.